I threw a baby shower for my sister-in-law at my home, only to be stunned when she asked me to leave just 15 minutes before the guests arrived. I'm 28 years old and have been married for 3 years. My husband, age 32, and I have been together for 5 years. He's currently living away from home for work, so we manage a long-distance relationship with him visiting every other weekend. We bought our own house a few months ago, just before he left for his job. The house is in a beautiful location, close to my parents' place, making visits convenient. Its architecture is charming, and it's quite spacious, which suits me perfectly since I live alone most of the time. I love the ambiance. It's a delightful home in a lovely neighborhood, and I cherish living here. When I held my housewarming party, guests showered it with compliments. My sister-in-law, Jolie, who's 30, seemed particularly enamored, constantly praising the house. Though we're not especially close, we've always been on friendly terms. So when Jolie asked a few weeks ago if she could host her baby shower at my place, I agreed without a second thought. Despite our lack of a deep bond, I said yes for several reasons. For one, she was pregnant, and I couldn't bring myself to refuse. Also, I spend a lot of time alone at home, so I thought it would be refreshing to meet new people and shake things up. I even took a day off work to help with the preparations. Jolie insisted on using my house because she didn't want to spend money renting a venue. She noted that my home was stunning, far nicer than her own, which, while pleasant, was smaller and less impressive. Her compliments probably swayed me, and honestly, I had no reason to decline since she'd always been kind to me. So I agreed, completely unaware of what was coming. Even during the planning, she gave no hint that I wasn't welcome at the event. I was deeply involved in every detail, and she visited me almost daily for 2 weeks to discuss everything from the menu to the decorations. I was excited about the event and thought it might bring us closer. But on the day of the shower, I was blindsided. I helped the decorator set up an hour before the guests were due to arrive. Jolie showed up 45 minutes before the start and thanked me warmly, acting perfectly normal, as if we were good friends. Yet, just 15 minutes before the guests were expected, she suddenly asked where I was planning to go for the next few hours. I was baffled, thinking she was joking. After all, the event was at my house. I'd assumed I'd be there, especially since I'd dressed up and even bought her a gift. When I asked if she was serious, she said, with a straight face, that she wasn't joking. She pointed out that I hadn't received an invitation and wasn't on the guest list. Honestly, I'd noticed those details but didn't think much of them, assuming I was naturally included since I'd helped plan the event and was hosting it at my home. Anyone in my shoes would have thought the same, especially since we'd never had any bad blood. I explained this to her, but she apologized, saying she'd assumed I was only helping in a professional capacity. This made no sense. I'm a banker, not an event planner, so I couldn't understand why she'd think that. I was visibly upset, and it must have shown. After a moment, she said she didn't want to argue, especially since she was pregnant and didn't need the stress. She insisted the event was for her closest family and friends only, a small, intimate gathering, and I didn't fit the criteria. She asked me to leave before the guests arrived to avoid a scene, saying our conversation was upsetting her. Furious, I stepped out to the backyard, unsure where else to go, and tried calling my husband to vent. He was in a work meeting and couldn't answer, so, in a moment of frustration, I did something out of character. I called Jolie's husband, Hubert. Hubert, 33, has been with Jolie for 4 years, married for 2. I don't know him well. He's quiet and reserved, but I was so angry I needed to tell someone. I explained everything to him, apologizing for unloading, but explaining I couldn't confront Jolie directly without risking upsetting her. I hoped he'd talk to her later and make her see reason. He listened silently, then apologized on her behalf, which calmed me slightly. He told me it was ridiculous for me to leave my own house and said he'd be over in a few minutes to sort things out, asking me to wait. I waited, and Hubert arrived just before the first guests. Jolie was visibly shocked to see him. When the doorbell rang, I walked back inside. In the living room, Hubert calmly told me I could stay for the shower. Jolie tried to protest, but he silenced her with a stern look. She spent the rest of the event glaring at me, and I decided I was done with her. I thought about canceling the shower altogether, but didn't want to waste the effort I'd put in, and Hubert's support made me feel it wasn't necessary.